being a teenager, that's when the trouble really started. I started coming home with tattooed eyes and bits of my face cut off, pushing my physical boundaries. You know, I love the way a tongue split looks, but can I do it? Can I actually handle sitting down and have someone cut my tongue in half?
Getting beat up alone is pretty shit. But then if you're going to do it in front of literally millions of people, I just can't think of much worse than that.
Tattooing was something that always gave me a purpose. I wanted to be the best. I can prove my place here. My friend said to me years ago, shut up, you're Grace fucking neutral.
Welcome to another episode of Tom Aspinall's The Inner Game. We are at Champion Combat Centre, and this podcast is all about champions across different professions, talking to them about their story, mindset, mentality, and of course, how to get to the top. And who better to do it with than none other than Tom Aspinall, the UFC heavyweight champion. Tom, over to you to introduce our guest.
We've got someone that I've been a big fan of for a long time. We have got Grace Neutral in the building. Hello, Grace.
Thank you. Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
How was the journey up?
It was great. Yeah, Bristol to Manchester is nowhere near as far as I thought it'd be.
Did you come up this morning?
No, we came up last night.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Stayed in a little hotel. Had a little pub dinner last night. Had some proper northern gravy on my roast dinner.
Oh.
Literally, as soon as the plate put down, my friend Luke looked at me and went, proper northern gravy, that. I was like...
Big question straight in. Gravy on fish. Tom's got me into it with fish and chips.
I don't think I've ever had gravy.
Oh, you got to try it.
I think I'd be down, yeah. I think I'd be into it.
Would you have gravy on chips, usually? If you went for a chip...
Yeah, cheesy chips and gravy. It's not something I would... Obviously, it's very popular up here. Mm-hmm. Isn't there orange chips in the north as well? Is that a thing?
No, I don't know what that is.
Orange chips?
Orange chips?
What is that?
This feels like an education
It's
process.
Like they batter the chips in the batter that they put the fish in and they fry it, but they come out like orange and they call them orange chips.
I've never heard of that.
Wait, say that again. They batter the chips?
Yeah, they batter the chips and fry them.
Never heard of it.
Really?
Sounds
Maybe
amazing.
It's a different part of the north. But for me, like anywhere above London is the north. So
the old Watford joke, love it.
Yeah.
But got to start off with, obviously, with all our guests, we try and sort of understand the person and where they've come from. With you, when I was looking into it, you were born in Dubai, is that correct?
That is correct.
And your dad was in the Navy. So, like, talk to us about those like first few years from what you can remember. Was that like, in itself, you must have had so many experiences. Yeah,
growing up in Dubai was amazing. It was very different to the Dubai that we think of now, because I was born in 89 and it was basically just a desert then. But yeah, my dad was in the Navy, so he ended up working over there, and my mum and my sister and me went. I was a little baby, and well, I was born there, but growing up there as a little baby, I don't, to be honest, remember much. The things that I remember most are the first ever ballet lessons that I went to, and like holidays in the desert, because we go on like camping, and like the whole family would go on like little camping expeditions, and we had like this little dune buggy that we'd take out there, and my sister and my dad and everyone just like, my dad was pretty gnarly though. He let like an 8-year-old girl like just cruise around the dunes in a buggy on her own, and they this is quite a funny family story, actually. Apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently when I was really little, probably about 1 or 2, my sister would have been like 9. She was in the Land Rover in the desert with me, and she just started driving it. She took off, and apparently we flipped the car down the dunes. But we're babies in it, so we're like rubbery, and we didn't have any injuries. But yeah, like life was pretty exciting as a kid. I got to travel a lot because my dad's job. But then we settled back in a village that my parents, on both sides, their family goes back generations, you know. So it was really good to see the world from such a young age. And also part of my family had emigrated to Canada. So we kind of went to Canada. I'd been to the Middle East and been to Hong Kong and places like that because of my dad's work as well. So yeah, it was really cool as a kid, like to get to do all these things, you know. And then I just ended up in a tiny little southwest village. Little fishing village.
I don't want to miss out on the fact that you wanted to become a ballet dancer, obviously, before we get on to all things tattoos. This is a question, obviously, sort of for both of you, with having a profession and being dedicated to it at such a young age. How much pressure do you feel you might say it's second nature to you, but I'll start for you, Tom. How much pressure do you feel when you're at the age of 8 and wanting to be an MMA fighter and having that sort of dedication day in, day out? What's that like as a child?
When did you start ballet? How old were you?
2.
Oh, you were 2. Well, I only started when I was like 8. So, well, for me, it was just something I did as a hobby, really. And then from there, I just realised, we said it loads of times, you know about this, obviously, but when I realised that people started making money and doing it as a full-time job, that's when I really felt like, I don't really want a proper job. I just want to do this. So at that stage, when I was like 8, 9, 10, whatever, I felt pressure because I wanted to be good at it, but I didn't feel like pressure that I need to do it as my career. But I would imagine it's different though with ballet, no? Because it's like, don't you get groomed from like a young age to?
Yeah, ballet is like a cult.
Yeah.
I started when I was really young, and I think my mum, I don't want to like say that my mum was one of those pushy mums. She encouraged me, and she also like held me accountable on days that I didn't want to go. She'd be like, no, like we're fucking going. Do you know what I mean? But she wasn't like making me do something I didn't want to do. She just encouraged the creativity in me from a young age, whatever that creativity was. And dance was like such a huge thing for me being little. She's, like most little girls, I guess, when you have little girls, you put them in a ballet class when they're little. And I just loved it. I loved all form of dance. And I went to like a Saturday school for a long time. So I'd dance after school like 3-4 times a week. I'd also swim in the mornings before school for like extra fitness, whatever. And all day Saturday I would dance. And we do ballet, tap, jazz, also like singing. I was just a bit of like a theatre kid. I was never really into the acting. Like I would do the musical stuff. I love to like belt out a tune, even though I wasn't very good. But yeah, like ballet was something that I was starting to get recognised for within like the places that I was going, and then like the local paper when I got into dance school like picked up on it. So that in itself like kind of made me think at a young age, like, this is what I should be doing. I should be a prima ballerina. So that was the main objective, and for the longest time. And then, just being a teenage girl, I was like 15. I just wanted to do other things apart from like dance all week and all weekend. I wanted to go out raving, So that kind of flipped. And I also think when I got older, like 14, 15, I started to understand more like, and I'm sure you have this in fighting as well, like you've only got like a certain longevity in the game. Like you can't be 55 getting in the ring. Well, maybe you could, I don't know. But like as a ballerina, like your career is not going to be really longer than 10 to 15 years.
So how long do ballerinas usually like go for? Like what's the age that they stop? Because I've seen them all with them like weird feet, like where they're all backed up and everything. Because
the discipline is so crazy, and like it is so taxing on your body, which again I'm sure you can 100% relate to. It does destroy your body, the discipline, in a lot of ways. And I think career wise, because also things like you have to be, it's kind of different now, but when I was coming up in ballet, it was like there is a type of ballerina and that's the archetype, and you have to fit into that mold. And there's a lot of like negative pressures for young girls, especially in ballet, when it comes to like eating and maybe taking things on the side to keep their weight down and things like that. I think a lot of that plays into like the longevity of a ballerina, because physically is one thing, but like mentally as well, like having a really successful career and coming out kind of like unscathed, I think is probably rare. And I think that there are quite a lot of toxic things within ballet. When I was growing up, like ballet teachers were scary. Like I was terrified of my ballet teachers. They'd whack me with rulers. They'd slap me on the back of the head, like it was really intense. And it was just like it was very normal in the culture. But then I was like 15, found like, jungle and dubstep and ecstasy. And I was like, I think I'm done with ballet. I think I just want to go and live my life and see what else happens.
Do you feel like that sort of dark time for you was it allowing you to then say, right, this isn't me. I want to go and express myself and go and get into that career and profession of being a tattooer?
I think if it wasn't for, I think the things that kind of got me out of it were, I don't necessarily see ballet as being like the dark part of my life. Like there were dark things in it, do you know what I mean? But ultimately, like I really enjoyed ballet. It was a big part of my childhood. But then, you know, just being a teenager, that's when the trouble really started, you know, like all this rave culture and going out and having fun was great. But I found myself getting into dynamics with people that I shouldn't be getting into, you know, and I found myself around a lot of very not nice people, if you like. And that's when I kind of felt I was lost for an amount of years, probably from the age of like 15 to 18. I just didn't know what I wanted to do because ballet wasn't an option for me anymore. I thought, bun this, I don't want to do this anymore. I just wanted to like live wild and free, and I wanted to be a creative, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So that just turned into a few years of just being wild. It's the only way to describe it. You know, I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was taking drugs. I was, you know, not doing anything progressive with my life. And then I moved to London, walked into a tattoo studio randomly. And I was already heavily tattooed, but I never considered it like a profession. But yeah, just one day I was in Soho in London, walked into a tattoo studio because someone gave me a flyer outside the shop. And I was like, oh, I'll go and have a look in there. And then something just like overcame me, and I was like overcome with just the environment, and I just asked for a job there and then.
You must have been like arty before though. You were like drawing and stuff, yeah?
My mum's an artist, so she like always pushed our creativity as children, whether that be, you know, like dance, music, art, whatever, you know, like I'm so lucky that my mum pushed me into like nurturing my creativity, regardless of what kind of outlet it was. So yeah, my mum's really liberal, and then my dad's not, because my dad's in the Navy and he's like old school. He's also 84.
Oh, is he? He's a bit of a fossil, your dad, then, isn't he? So you're, you said you were born in 89, so that makes you 36.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's 80, so he's about 50-ish when you were born.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So how old are your siblings? Your siblings are...
My sister is 8 years older than me.
Right.
And my brother is 1 year younger than me. But my brother has a different mum and a dad, but I still consider him my brother. And my sister has a different dad to me.
Right.
But yeah, like being in a family where my parents were a little bit older than everyone else is, I didn't really think about it at the time. I just thought my dad was, one, he was quite aloof, but when he was there, he was quite strict. And I just thought that's how my dad was. And it is, but it wasn't until I was older I realized like my dad is like most of my friends' grandparents, you know, like my dad was born in World War II. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like my dad, like we're so different. Like my dad was born in World War II. Like when he was like 2 weeks old, the house he was in got bombed and he had to get dug out of it. Like my granddad was a doctor in the army in World War II. So it's like, it's very like Victorian, like military style side of the family, very shut down emotionally. Like they don't know how to express their feelings. Like it's not something that's genuinely talked about in the family, you know? And then I have my mum who's like this kind of hippy dippy creative country girl, you know, who was raised by the landlord and landlady of a pub and was raised in a pub, you know. So it's these two very different like parenting figures that I have. So being very anti-authority as well, like, you know, my dad would want me to be a sailor, you know, he wanted me to go, but me being a tattooer was kind of like when I started getting into that, especially because obviously being a ballerina as well and stuff, you know, have this kind of prim and proper set out life for me, and it didn't go that way. And then I start coming home with like, you know, tattooed eyes and bits of my face cut off. And
it is fascinating though, because obviously for Tom, his dad's had such a big influence on his life and career and sort of obviously giving you that path to kind
Because
of
your dad is in
go down that way.
Your dad's in martial arts as well, right? He's got a
Yeah. He's got a massive like martial arts background. So I'm like from like a martial arts family.
Yeah.
So I just it was like so for MMA, people usually like actively watch MMA and then they're like, that's what I want to try. Whereas with me, it was just like, that's just what my family do. It's just like, I was always in the gym and around fighters and stuff from like as long as I can remember. So I never like had the active choice of like most fighters will watch like a UFC fight or a boxing fight and be like, that's what I want to do. But for me, that's what I was just around that anyway. So I just kind of fell into it. This episode is sponsored by Ballet. I travel a lot with work, media, fighting, family. And when you land somewhere new, you got no Wi-Fi, you've got no internet, you've got no connection. You know how frustrating that can be. That's why Ballet is so good, because when you land, it's an eSIM service with prepaid data that makes sure you don't get any nasty charges or sneaky expenses by the time you land home. It's easy because you download the app, choose a plan, and set it up within a few minutes. Then it activates automatically when you arrive at your destination. Simple. They've also got plans to suit any trip, whether you just need a bit of data or something more. There's 24/7 support if you need any help. Download Ballet in the App Store or by scanning the QR code on screen. Use code INNERGAME at checkout to get 15% off your first purchase. The details in the podcast episode description box. Let's get back to the episode. Well, I've got so many questions about
Hit me.
This is great.
We're going to get.
This is a wild story.
We're going to get into the tattoos in a sec as well. But like, I wanted to, for both of you, because I think you don't even realise there's quite a correlation in both your stories, because kind of, and for a 15 to maybe 21-year-old that's struggling at the moment, I think it's really good to hear from both of you on this, that you're both at the top of your professions, but you kind of went through those hard times to get there. And a lot of people forget that. Obviously yourself, you were on the doors. I was looking in, you worked at Madame Two Swords as well. Yeah. So that kind of, before getting to that place, how hard are those times to sort of get, and maybe you think, is this really for me? Did you both have that sort of moment, and what kind of keeps you through there, getting those sort of experiences?
Well, what kept me in is just like, I just liked it. I just like fighting. I'm just drawn to it. I've been drawn to it for as long as I can remember. Like, if like we're in the podcast room now, but we're also part of the gym. Like, if two of your team started fighting, I would want to leave the podcast and watch them fight. I'm just like naturally drawn to it. I don't know why it is. I just am.
Out of my team, none of them are going to be fighting. They're the most passive boys ever.
I would be like,
yeah.
I'd be trying to watch a game plan for them both. Like, oh, what's this guy? So for me, I just loved it so much that I just didn't want to. The money that I was getting other places, and I did a load of different jobs, but it was always just to like supplement me being a UFC fighter. I never really went off that path of this. But I think a lot of that's like instilled in me by my dad and other fighters that was around, because I was like, this is what they're doing. It's what I need to do. So I'm pretty lucky in that regard, where I had a lot of good people around me, I think.
And then obviously for you, Grace, just off what Tom's saying there as well, what was kind of that moment for you as a tattooer? You sort of getting different jobs in London and sort of going, right, okay, I need to make this commitment. But how hard were those times as well?
Well, I, just as like a little bit of context, in Plymouth, I moved out of my family home when I was 15, because I just thought I was, Miss Billy Big Bollocks, and I could do whatever I wanted, and I was Miss Independent. So I've been like financially independent since I was 15. So I've had like a plethora of shit jobs, like from cleaning supermarket fridges at 6 a.m, working in McCall's. Then I moved to Bristol. I had a few bar jobs, could never hold them down. I was too interested in partying. Then I moved to London. Obviously, London's a bit more of a different energy. You need money. It's more expensive. It's more cutthroat. So I had like a dead end retail job for like a year in Levi's. And I was like, I am not equipped for this. Like, I'm just can't do this. I need to do something else. And I think that's where that that moment of me being in the tattoo shop and asking for a job really came. It was like, this is it. Like, this is an environment you love. You've already been getting tattooed and been wanting to hang out in the scene for a long time. Like, just get a job. Like, get a job in this industry. That was literally what the little angel on my shoulder was saying. And yeah, once I was in it, even though my life was still very like chaotic for the first however many years when I was tattooing, because I still couldn't like hold myself down. It was really hard, but tattooing was something that always gave me a purpose. Like when I started tattooing and people started liking my work and I started my work started resonating with people and I was connecting to all these people, I was like, this is it, you know, like I can do this. I'm excited to come in the morning and start the day as opposed to like dreading it, you know. And I think when you find something that's your passion, it's, you know, it doesn't become a job anymore. Like I'm very blessed in the fact that, in the sense of, I've been tattooing for 16 years and I still, you know, I never get that pit in my stomach when I wake up in the morning about having to go to work, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Because people will be listening and watching and going, what's that moment? Was that moment for you then in the parlour when you first walked in, you were like, this could be my career? Or was there another time where you got like key confidence and you were like, this is it, I'm going to be? Well,
when I walked into the shop, they didn't have anything tattoo related that they could offer me. They offered me a piercing apprenticeship, which I was like, yeah, because I was really into body modification and stuff and piercing at the time. It was kind of later on, probably about a year after that, being in the tattoo setting and always being a creative and drawing, I would draw and wait for piercings to come through and just observing all the guys as well. I was like, I want to do what you do, you know? But when I expressed that, it wasn't an option because it was still very like much of a boys' club back then, especially the shop that I first worked in, you know, the only people that tattooed there were men. And there was women there, but they were piercers and managers and desk girls, you know? So yeah, I wanted to, when that moment came when I realized like I want to be a tattooer, you know, I kind of sussed out a few options, but everything was like kind of shut down or denied. So I had no choice. I had to, you know, find needles in the tattoo studio and take them home and tattoo myself, tattoo my friends, and that's how it started. And that's how the hand poke started as well, because it was the only like viable option for me. I didn't have money for machines and no one would let me use theirs or teach me any information about them. So I was like, well, I can just take a needle and try and work it out for myself. And then I thought, fuck you, I don't want to do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm just gonna do hand poke.
I love it. Was there a moment for you like that at all where you thought, this could be my career, this is it?
I think for me, like when I started beating guys in the UFC.
Yeah, when you start winning.
Yeah, you start winning. You start beating people up who you see on the TV, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm pretty good."
Yeah.
No, but it was always weird because, like, training and fighting are two completely different things, even though they look essentially the same. Mm-hmm. Fighting is like way different in terms of the mental space that you have to get yourself in to be able to fight someone in front of millions of people. Way different. So I was always like doing well against good guys in the gym, but I didn't know if I could do it in fights, if that makes sense, even though it's like the same thing, essentially.
I actually saw in an interview you talking about that, how some guys, they're absolutely weapons in the ring when you're training.
Yeah, it's more like that. It's more that way than it is the opposite way. Like, I think I'm actually a lot better in a fight than I am in the gym. And usually it's the opposite. So I wasn't really aware of that until I like experienced it a few times myself. Like when I got in the UFC, which is the biggest organization in the world, and started beating guys that I seen on the TV, I was like, oh, could do all right at this. So that's where the confidence came from.
That's crazy though, that it got to only that point for you to...
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of a validation, isn't it? Like being able to...
Do you get nervous though?
Oh yeah, bad. It doesn't, and you know the thing is, it doesn't get easier. I used to be under the illusion that I used to watch guys on the TV and think, when I get to that level, I won't be nervous anymore. And actually, my nerves actually get worse now each fight. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I think I've got a bit of a problem.
It's bigger stakes, higher pressure.
Yeah, well, that's it. I got way more to lose. Like, before, I would fight in front of 500 people. Now I fight in front of 50,000 people live and millions around the world. So it's way, it's definitely nerve-wracking. Yeah, absolutely.
It's gnarly. It's absolutely like I'll talk. The only thing I can kind of compare it to is like when I've spoken to people and I've done like interviews before on my YouTube with like musicians and stuff, like how just the sheer crowd of it, like having to perform, whether that be like musically or having to beat the shit out of someone, you know, that's a big task in itself. But then to have to deal with the crowd on top of it, you know.
Yeah, I think
because you ultimately want to win the crowd over, right?
It's just more like I can't think of much worse. Well, getting beat up alone is pretty shit. Like if you're going to get battered off someone, it's not that fun. But then if you're going to do it in front of literally millions of people, I just can't think of much worse than that, to be honest. I mean, there's obviously worse stuff going on, but when you put like loads of effort into doing it for years and years and years, and then like not only failing and doing bad, but actually like getting your ass kicked in front of loads of people, it's I think you'd be an idiot to not be scared, in my opinion.
But that doesn't really happen to you very often. You knock everyone out within 30 seconds.
Yeah, I do. I'm doing all right. Doing all right with it, but yeah. It can happen. I know that it can happen, so I'm obviously pretty scared of it. Yeah, it's Charlie's seen me many times on fight week, and it's not.
It's a stressful time.
Yeah, it's so stressful. It's so stressful.
I'm sure, like with a lot of things, the build up is unbearable. But is there a moment where it kind of like goes, pew, and like the focus sets in and you feel the calm?
Yeah, like when you get in there, usually like when you start actually fighting, it just kind of goes away. Like once you've hit each other a couple of times, like you just kind of forget about it. But
because I've noticed in your fights, you do a little starting move. You're always on the ground. Yeah.
There's a picture of.
Oh yeah, there we are.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Is that where things kind of come into focus and everything?
No, it's not there. It's like when you like get in the full like flow of it, you just forget about it. But like it's weird because usually you'll be fighting. Well, every time you're fighting somewhere else, so you fly there, then you spend a week like doing interviews and media and stuff like that, and then it gets to a point you do the weigh-in on Friday, and then from Friday to like Saturday night, you literally just have nothing to do. So you've been like
that
really busy,
unbearable.
So you've been really busy all week, and then it's just nothing, and you just can't think about anything else apart from your fight. It's borderline unbearable.
Do you have like a routine in that 24 hours where you?
I do. But I don't tell anyone the routine.
Okay, secret routine.
I feel like if I tell you, then it's going to ruin it.
Yeah, it takes away the mysticism and the power.
Yeah,
I get it.
So I just I do certain stuff, yeah. But that's when the mental game starts. Like after the weigh-ins, there is nothing else to do apart from, and you're like, oh, shall I sleep? Oh, I don't want to have too much sleep because, oh, shall I eat? No, I don't want to eat too much. I don't want to eat this. And it's just a crazy 24 hours.
The overthinking must be crazy.
Overthinking is wild. Yeah, absolutely.
It's it's a very, very unique week, but we're here to chat about you as well.
Yeah, my bad. I've got so many questions, but I'll save it for my time.
Yeah, I just wanted to, obviously, from my side, as someone that doesn't have tattoos and kind of be taking on that.
You don't have a single tattoo?
Not a single one.
I absolutely love and appreciate tattoos. I will just say that because I always say it to him as well. Like, but I'm terrified. And I'm
do a cheeky one today.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how
I could just stab you with a needle. So you can see what it feels like.
Please explain hand poke tattoos to me. I'm getting away from me getting.
By the way, I've never had a hand poke tattoo, and I'm obviously I'm not like heavily tattooed, but I've got a
pretty heavy
tattoos. Yeah.
And by the time
you
this
got a
goes
back
out,
piece. I feel like once you got a back piece, you can say that you're pretty heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a back, both arms, neck, chest. That's all. Yeah, pretty heavily. Yeah, tell us about hand poke, please.
Yeah,
because even I want to be educated on it because I don't really know.
Piercing to that, I want to understand that sort of journey as well.
Yeah, so being a piercer, and just to go back briefly, is with like starting this, like there was never a moment I doubted myself, but I remember when like the day before my first day of being a piercing apprentice, I remember laying there in bed, not being able to sleep, being like, can I actually do this? I want to do it, but am I like built in a way that I can, you know, shove needles through people and not feel like freaked out by it? Turns out I'm not freaked out. It's fine. But the piercing side of it was always a big passion of mine. And I think even though I didn't set out to be a hand poke artist, it was the natural progression that I was always going to have. So like I was saying earlier, there was no machines or people who were willing to teach me about machines. So I had to kind of just do it on my own. So I'd take the tattoo needles home and I would just hand poke myself, hand poke my friends. I'd done a few like homemade tattoos when I was in school, with like the sewing needle and the biro ink, I tried all of that. And I'd also seen some hand poke in a tattoo studio that I hung out at the time. So I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. And it literally just went from there. I did a couple and I was like, this is not good, but it's not total dog shit. Like, we can use this as a base and go from there. And I also think as well, like, because the tattoo industry is very male dominated, maybe not so much now, but when I started, it was super male dominated. So I kind of had, and still to a degree, but back then it was a lot bigger. I had this like complex, I had this chip on my shoulder that I wanted to be the best and I wanted to make a name for myself. And I wanted people to look at my work and not think it's hand poke, because there's this kind of general idea that hand poke tattoos are not as clean or you can't do lines and things like that. And once I learned how to do a solid line, I was like, I can fuck up some of these guys in the industry now. Do you know what I mean? And I can prove my place here. And that's exactly what I did. But essentially, tattooing with hand poke is a tattoo needle just bandaged to a piece of wood. And I just dip it in the ink and I was
literally just going to ask. So it's basically, because this is what it looks like, a stick almost with like a kind of tattoo needle on the end. And you just dip it like you would like a quill, like a pen, and then go.
Exactly, yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is it. How much more painful is that than a normal tattoo?
It's less painful.
Less painful.
But I don't want to say that to you because the area you want to get tattooed is really painful.
Yeah. You know what? I'm absolutely terrible at getting tattooed.
Yeah, I've heard. I've been
so
bad. Threshold with Tom is
so bad, honestly.
Which you can't believe considering what he does is pretty crazy.
Do you know what? I can believe it because I've been tattooing for 16 years and it's always the big boys that drop the hardest, as we say.
You know what? I think that, I mean, you'll know more than me, but I think the more tattoos I get, the more painful they get. I don't know why that is.
Your threshold goes like this.
Yeah, because at first I was like, I felt like I had some like adrenaline of getting tattooed, so it got me through. And now, because I've been tattooed so many times, I'm like, this is shit. I don't really want to be.
I think it's an accumulation of like, you get older, your pain threshold gets lower. You get bored of the excitement and the adrenaline. Like you say, it starts to wear off after like, the second sleeve and the back's done. And so, yeah, it's not the nicest. I hate getting tattooed. I use numbing cream quite a lot.
Yeah, I do.
I feel like I've done enough to warrant being able to use it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting laser at the moment. I'm lasering like my torso. That is so painful.
Why are you going to redo that, or you just don't want it?
I'm going to redo it, but I'm not sure when, because I've actually started on a bit of a fitness journey, if you will. That sounds so cringe to say, but like tattooing has been my main focus for so long. After being young and being a ballerina and doing a lot of like active stuff when I was a kid, I was still active during tattooing, but it wasn't like focused on one specific thing, and I never had a routine with it. It was only in the last like year where I've really locked in like a healthy workout routine where I go to the gym and I run and I swim. But I never had any of that before because I just was so focused on tattooing. Since I've started getting laser and since I've started working out, I do not by any means have a six-pack.
You want to see it?
My little obliques have started popping and now I'm like, fuck the tattoos. I just want a six-pack. Yeah.
It.
So I think my new hyperfixation is like with my body is more like with fitness and muscular stuff. So I think I'm going to get rid of everything and see how I feel. But yeah, I will probably
get rid of everything. You can't get rid of everything.
Not everything, but on my torso, I've got a massive Snow White here. That's gone. Her hand is here on my ribs. That's going. And then I've got like the weed leaf and this big mandala here, which goes like on my lower stomach. That's all going to go.
Wow. Oh, wow. I was going to ask you both about Coverups and sort of that journey as well, because you've got a lot.
You've got a lot of Coverups.
I'm the goddamn Coverup king.
Yeah. I'm a Coverup girl as well. My legs are 3 layers, but because my torso is like a more like an area of my body I deem more like feminine. It makes me feel more feminine. I didn't want to just like blast over it with really heavy stuff. So that's why I've gone on the laser journey. But yeah, I'm like you. I'm a big cover-up girl.
Is that a mental thing, a cover-up, in the sense of like you get something, then you just think, no, this isn't for me at this time?
I like tattoos, obviously. But with me, I had like loads of different styles. And I just thought, like, I got my back, which is obviously a massive part of my body, which is like a kind of Japanese style.
Your back piece is great.
Yeah, I really like it.
And you had a clock there before, right?
I did have a clock. Yeah. And then my arms were just like completely different. And it just looked, the arms were like really lightly done black and grey stuff. And it just looked weird. I just wanted to cover up my arms, and this arm was already covered actually. And it just looked, I just wanted to get it similar, and I'm still working through that now. I'm doing my chest again, which is all.
Fucking kills, isn't it?
So bad. Last time I booked in 4 hours and I left after 1.
Yeah.
So bad.
4 hours is a lot.
I used to do 6-hour sessions on my back, and I think that just like put me off for life. I just don't want to. I've got like a solid 90 minutes and then.
And you'll know about this, but like a lot of people who don't have like, who may be tattooed, but they don't have like a really big piece, whether that be like a leg sleeve, an arm sleeve, a back piece, for example. But those things, like tattooing is painful, but the commitment of getting such a large piece and staying consistent and going like every whatever it is, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months to consistently get this piece done is exhausting. I'm sure there were moments when you were going through your back piece journey where you were like, fuck me, when is this going to be over?
Yeah, well, I did 55 hours on my back.
Yeah.
I remember once, I think I was like getting sick. I just didn't feel good that day. And I still like, because I used to drive like quite far. So I used to drive like 90 minutes, get tattooed all day, drive 90 minutes back. And this one day I was just exhausted, like shivering and stuff. Got like
tattoo flu.
Your tattoo flu, yeah. And I got in the shower and like the shower hit my back, and I literally like started crying. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, the emotional wall when you hit it is.
This is what I mean. This is why I'm just
literally just started crying in the shower, and I'm just like, what am I doing to myself? It's awful.
I've had it before where I've experienced it, where I've just like broken down like midway through a day session, for example, and I've had customers do that as well. But a lot of the time, if you hit that emotional wall during the session, like halfway through the session, there's this one example of this girl. We did a massive mandala on her back. We started lining it, and there's no way we can't go until we finish lining it. Like, she has to sit there all day for this. There's no choice. And she hit the emotional wall maybe like 3 hours, 4 hours in. And I just remember I made her a really sugary cup of tea, and I sat there and I went, babe, I'm going to leave you alone for 15 minutes. And in the nicest possible way, you need to have a word with yourself, because we need to get through this. And I left her alone for 15 minutes, came back. She sat there like an absolute beast for the rest of the day. But again, it's like tapping into that mental, which is, again, something you have to do when you work out, let alone when you fight.
You sound like you've really got like a fire in your belly with all of this, and like there's like this sort of switch for you. Do you see that in yourself?
Yeah. Come on, I started slicing bits off and cutting things in half. Like, physical boundaries is something that I've always enjoyed, like seeing how far my limit is.
How does someone dial into that though?
Oh, I don't know.
I think you're a bit of a secret psychopath, aren't you? I quite like. I want to ask about the
So are you?
Yeah.
I want to ask though the body mod stuff, because
let's talk about it.
I don't know nothing about body mod stuff. So can you tell us about it? Just tell us what it is first of all, and then I'll ask you specifically.
So I guess everything's body mod, right? Tattooing can be body mod, but we're talking about the more extreme, like underground body modifications that have been popular in the underground scene. So when I got into piercing, first of all, and I've said this a lot on interviews, so I hope it's not boring for anyone listening who's heard it before, but my mum used to have books on different indigenous tribes around the world, and obviously there's a lot of like physical adornments, body modifications that happen within all these different cultures. So I was exposed to that as a young kid. I was like, whoa, this is really cool what people are doing with their bodies. Then through like my own journey in alternative culture and music and punk music, I would see all these like the girl who taught me to pierce, for example, she had a split tongue and she had scarification and she had some mods, and I was like, oh my God, this girl is so fucking cool. Like, and in a way, she was because I knew I always wanted to experiment and seek out these things, but body modification especially is like so underground. It's like hard to find anyone that you would trust to split your tongue or tattoo your eyes, or
because it's illegal now, is that right? It's like splitting your tongue and stuff.
So yeah, it is illegal, but the way that a lot of body modification artists get away with it, get around it, is they continuously travel. So it's like, also there's not like this high demand for like body modification in that sense. So it's kind of, you have to travel to find the work. But I was a piercer. My boss said to me, no, I said to my boss, where do I get my tongue split? I want my tongue split. She introduced me to someone. They split my tongue. And then I was like, I want to get my ears pointed. Can you point my ears? And he was like, no, I don't do that. But this guy from America is coming in. He does it. And then I ended up meeting this guy. I was very young and very impressionable. So I was going in there with these like rose tinted glasses on, like already idolizing the people around me, you know. And I ended up being in a relationship/working relationship with this body modification artist for about 5 years. That's where I got all my
All by the same guy?
Apart from the guy who split my tongue, it was all done by the same person, yeah.
Okay, so you've got the ears, which I don't think I've seen.
Yeah, so I got my ears pointed like a pixie. And I also had my earlobes cut off, so they're now like teeny tiny.
I would never notice that though. Wow. They just look pretty normal.
Yeah, because I had these big stretched ears when I was a teenager,
right. Okay.
and then I didn't like them anymore. So I was like, cut my earlobes off, and I want them because I wanted these little tiny fairy ears. Then
you got the scarification.
Scarification on my face. I got my belly button removed, and I tattooed my eyes.
Now this week, with our sponsor, That Prize Guy, you can win the Comfortable Living Bundle. This is honestly one of the best prizes I've seen so far. 10 grand tax-free cash, £750 a month for 1 year, 10 grand 3 times during the year, and a £3,000 holiday voucher. What a mad prize! Enter by clicking the QR code here or check out the link in the description of the episode. Visit thatprizeguide.co.uk for more before it's too late. Let's get back to the episode.
I watched an interview that you did 10 years ago about self-love and you know, being happy in yourself, not making your ego happy. That sort of, it leans into all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I always wanted to not be different, because I just, the norm, the generic, you know, that never enticed me, you know. Like when I was a kid, I was into the Spice Girls, and Scary Spice was my favorite Spice Girl because she had a tongue piercing, and I just thought that was so cool, you know. So alternative culture is always something I've been into, but changing the way that I looked was really helpful in my healing as like a young person who'd just been reckless for the last however many years. And I didn't know about self-love for the longest time, you know. It wasn't until my 30s where I really started understanding that concept, you know. I thought sacrifice was the ultimate way to love back then, and then I realized that that's really unhealthy. But as far as like me using it as a way of like making myself feel better, healing, pushing my physical boundaries, you know, I love the way a tongue split looks, for example, but can I do it? Can I actually handle sitting down and have someone cut my tongue in half in the back room of a tattoo shop at 12 and, you know, at midnight on a Tuesday? Like, can I handle that? And it just kind of came like my therapy, and my healing was to like push my physical boundaries to prove to myself that like I am a strong person, you know. And it just coincided with all of this extreme aesthetic stuff, which I just liked the way it looked, you know. I just don't really like for me personally, I don't buy into the mainstream idea of beauty because it just doesn't align with me. So I had to go and find my own way so I could feel comfortable in my own skin, you know?
That's crazy. So you almost seen it like a challenge, like someone doing a marathon, for example.
Yeah,
That's like a challenge where they feel they train for it, they push the body and then they feel better.
Yeah.
You felt that way about body modern tattoos.
Yeah, but it's more of a mental game, right? Because obviously it's physical, but like there's no physical training for splitting your tongue, you know, but like there's this mental build up of like what's it, you know, the unknown, what's it going to be like, and yeah, it's just how I knew to kind of like keep my head above water, you know. I can keep pushing myself and just, you know, get stronger that way, I guess. Prove to myself, not get stronger, just prove to myself that I'm already as strong as I think I am.
Did you have anyone, like we've spoken to other guests and they talk about their environment and people around them at that time? It sounds quite a lonely place for you and a challenge in yourself, as Tom says, that kind of marathon feel. Was there an environment around you supporting you and where you were going in your career?
Yes and no, because I was surrounded by a lot of the wrong people, especially in body modification. It took me a long time to really find my family, and that was the one thing about tattooing body modification. It was like, you see all these shops and these studios and these groups of people and they're like families, and they're all dysfunctional as fuck, but they're still like families, you know, and that's something that really enticed me into it. But again, I was a troubled young girl, so I was just hanging out with the wrong people and getting caught up in the wrong crowds, and that pushed me down into a really dark place. And then it, you know, like everything, you kind of like, you grow from it, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I was like, well, I know that I never want to go through this again. So how do we, you know, it's just all part of growing up for me. And I was too young and dumb and immature back then, you know, like.
You had similar with friends as well, though, in that aspect. You've not really spoken about it, but you went through stages, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think when you're growing up, you're finding your people, aren't you? And you still, like, I feel like I still am to a degree.
Yeah.
I'm not like,
especially in the world of MMA.
Yeah. I mean, MMA, like tattooing, I would imagine, and that kind of circle, it attracts not very nice people a lot of the time.
100%.
But there's a lot of nice people as well, so you just got to find them.
For sure. But also, I feel like when you're someone who builds a career within a space, like you've become the ultimate champion of the world, right? What am I saying it wrong?
No.
The ultimate champion of the world?
He's undisputed.
The undisputed, sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. So with that in itself comes, you know, it brings the snakes out. The more notoriety you get, the more fame you get, the more success you get, the harder it is to work out who is here for the right reasons. That's why, in my experience, my group, my circle has got smaller the older I get. It's got tighter and it's got better, but it's definitely got smaller. I'm all about quality, not quantity, when it comes to friends. And I feel like loyalty is something that is only shown with time, you know. So you can't, like, I used to jump in and give everyone everything at the beginning, you know, like, this is my house, come in, I'll give you everything, you know, like, come to Femme Fatale, my tattoo shop, I'll give you a job, I'll make it work, we'll get your career going for you, you know, because I just love tattooing and I wanted to see other people do well. But you start seeing that people don't actually want to see you do well, they just want to see themselves do well off the back of you, which is a really like hard one, I think, to maneuver, and it can make you paranoid at times. I know I've had moments in my career where I was probably a bit too paranoid because you didn't know who to trust, you know? And I'm sure you get that massively.
Of course.
Probably 1,000 times more than I ever would.
We were just saying there about, obviously, the world and the environment that we're in. A big one for both of you, I guess, is social media and the presence that you have, Grace, over 500,000 followers, which is amazing. But one big thing that a lot of people, I guess, don't see is the pressures of it as well. Obviously, I work with Tom on his social media on a day-to-day basis. How do you find social media for yourself, in the sense of how much you put out there, but then also the pressures that come with it as well?
I go through ups and downs with it, but lately I've been really struggling with social media. I'm just finding it too much. Like, I just don't want to be on it, and I don't want to. The one thing I've always disliked about the new way of tattooing is that you have to be a tattooer now, but you also have to be a content creator. And I know it's all part of the new world, but I do find it exhausting. And sometimes I just want to be like, I just want to concentrate on my art. And I've actually been honoring those feelings in myself a lot recently. Like, I haven't been posting as much as I usually post. And even though that might negatively affect my work, I just think for my mental health right now, it's just the best thing for me. And just kind of keeping it at my own pace, because I do feel like we all feel the pressure to, be this person every day online, showing the best side of ourselves. And it's just like, sometimes you just need a break from that. Do you know what I mean?
Do you feel people understand you better, or do they judge you more?
I'm
coming to you on this as well, so get ready.
Oh, I don't know. Probably judge me more, because I feel like I'm vulnerable online in moments, and I put a lot out there, but I still don't put it's still a very small percentage of what's actually going on in my life, because I've noticed that I feel better about myself and my day-to-day when certain things are kept sacred, I don't share every moment of my life with the world, because it's so much pressure. Do you know what I mean? It's so much pressure. So yeah, I'm a bit cautious, I would say.
You're gonna ask me? No, do you know what? I've learned that there's people out there just never gonna like you.
Exactly. You can't please everyone.
And if we were sitting in this room now and I was to tell you a story and I was borderline complaining about something, you'd be like, oh, I understand completely. But there will be people out there who don't give a shit and they just want to say, stop complaining. You know what I mean? It's just like that about everything. So what I share is stuff that I want to share, really. So we've all got our own lives. We've all got stuff going on. I've got problems just the same as everybody else. So you got to limit what you share, which is why I only really put out stuff about fighting, really. I don't put nothing about personal life. A lot of people don't even know anything about a personal life, but that's why I keep it like that.
No, it's just, I had to ask it because obviously it's got we're having this conversation, do you know what I mean, in the sense that it's reaching out to big audiences and people are there, and obviously it's a profile and it helps you with your work as well. So
I'm so grateful for social media, for everything it's done for me as a tattoo artist and everything I've been able to do off the back of it. I'm not knocking it, but I do think that we all have to find a healthy balance with what we're comfortable with. Some people wake up in the morning and find it so natural just to pick up the phone. One of my best friends is she's so good at social media. She's so good. It's just something she doesn't have to think about. It just naturally happens. But me, I'm not like that. I'm my phone's been in the washer room for the last 9 hours. I should probably go and check it. My phone's on silent all the time. My phone makes me feel more stressed than it doesn't, so yeah, it's not my natural go-to would be to be look what I'm having for my breakfast. Do you know what I mean? But there are so many people that are, and that's great, and I love watching videos of people having their breakfast, so I'm not cussing it, but it's just for me, I'm just I don't know if I've got the confidence in myself to do that on a day-to-day, because I struggle. I don't know about you, but I struggle with imposter syndrome massively. Even the fact that I'm sat here now on your podcast, and this whole thing is all about people being at the top of their game in whatever industry they're in, I'm what? How the fuck did I get here? How did I manage to slip through the cracks? And what what did you eat for breakfast when you decided that you wanted Grace on the pod? That's how my brain talks to me.
But that's fascinating, because you're saying you got imposter syndrome, but then you talked about obviously having that sort of fire and get to the top as well. How do you sort of sit in between that? Or is it constantly switching between the two?
It's a constant battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an Aries, so I'm just I'm a doer, not a thinker, and I'm full of fire. I'm a fiery girl. That's just the essence of who I am.
I'm also an Aries.
I know you are.
I have the thing with it, but sometimes, I think the imposter syndrome's a good thing, because I have it massively.
It levels you out.
But then it's you just want to do more. You not think, you're I don't know why these people are thinking this, but I need to prove that this is what I really am. That's what I'm like anyway.
Yeah.
It shows you care, though.
Yeah, because there's loads of times that stuff's happened with me and I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'll do a meet and greet and 1,000 people will show up. I'm like, what the hell? Are these people here for me? What is going on? And it's just weird. It's still even now, I've been like fighting all my life, but I've been like really successful probably over the last 5 years. And still it just blows my mind. And I'm like, this has got to end bad. Like naturally, I just think this has got to end badly. Or this is not,
No,
I don't
you're
know.
a smart cookie. You'll be all right.
But I think that's the way of success. And it's like when I'm training, I just constantly feel like I've not done enough. But I think that's a good thing as well, because it just pushes you to do more.
For sure.
Is that the same with you with your art, that you're constantly trying to go to that next step?
Yeah.
What is that for you? Is there an ever, it's like with Tom, obviously as a mixed martial artist, there's never an end point. He's always going to be training for the rest of his life. Is there a point for you where you want to get to, or?
I think it's exactly the same with tattooing. Like, I think you're always going to be training as a tattooer, and you're always going to be honing in your craft and making it better, whether that be like on a technical level or on a creative level. So I'm always trying to just like live my most authentic creative life. So I am getting inspired, and when I was young, I used to get inspired from the chaos. That's why I would be in all these chaotic scenarios and around these chaotic people, because it drove my creativity and drove my inspiration. Now I'm getting older and I'm getting closer to 40. It's like, that's all changing now. And it's like, I'm finding what inspires me is peace, calm, nature, simple things, being alone with my dogs, do you know what I mean? Cooking a meal, like shapes in nature, like just really simple things. Whereas before, because of the chaos and everything, and because of what I do and I'm so inspired by it, was like, psychedelics and all these like really intense things, I sought out loads of different types of psychedelic medicine, and for my own self, but also for the inspiration of it, and now I'd probably just go on a walk, on like a coastal walk, for inspiration rather than go and do an ayahuasca ceremony.
Sounds beautiful in its own ways.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing that we always ask our guests, rather than the classic, what would you say to a young Grace? What would you say to future Grace? What's the sort of thoughts going in the future?
I don't know what I'd say to her, but I actually think about myself as an old person quite a lot. And I try and make those decisions now with her in mind, with 84-year-old Grace in mind, because I don't want to be one of those people who like, dead by 30, well, obviously I'm 37, so, but you know what I mean? Like people who are like, yeah, I'm going to die young, it's going to be fine. I don't want to be like that. I want to live a full life. I want to be old. I want to be surrounded by laughter, and I want to die in my bed surrounded by people I love. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the sort of life and death I would like. So yeah, just I make decisions now with older Grace in mind and younger Grace in mind, because I have to nurture my inner child. We all have to do that, but I think we also, like you say, have to nurture that person in the future, because I want to be a batshit crazy old lady, but like, not cuckoo, I still want to be having fun.
And what would you want to say to people that are maybe going through those tough times that you spoke about, that you've obviously sort of noted, and where they're trying to maybe express themselves as well?
For anyone who has had similar struggles than I have, whether that be like being in, and I've talked about this a lot on like other podcasts, like I was in very violent, tumultuous relationships growing up, and I've fallen into that kind of like that trap, and just talk to someone, believe in yourself, and know that your worth is so much greater than the situation that you're in right now. And just talk to people that you love and trust, and believe in yourself, and don't let anyone make you feel less than, like, what's best for you at the end of the day. And yeah, like, I guess in tattooing specifically, I've always been like a massive advocate for safety, not to get too deep in this podcast, but like the tattoo industry is very toxic, and there's a lot of really questionable behavior that has to be changed. And I think that just the place where we're starting is having that conversation, and yeah, just don't suffer in silence. And if you think something's not right, talk to other people about it. And you know, if you don't feel like your family is the right family for you, go out and find a new one. Because that's what I did. You know, like I had to go through the hard knocks, if you like. And we all have to do that to a certain extent. But yeah, just believe in yourself.
Oh, it's great advice. I love it. One thing that I have to ask, considering it's kind of the elephant in the room, but eyes, eye pain.
Oh yeah,
who wants to start this?
I don't want to get talked about it.
I don't want to do anything that's going to trigger you, because I know
It's all right. No, you go for it. I mean, we've had a couple of eye surgeries, so I'm a bit sensitive. But
yeah, I bet. And I want to pick your brain about that later, honestly. But and also, I don't know why, but it almost makes me feel, because you've had an eye injury, and it's like I elected to put needles in my eyes, so it's a different ball game. But yeah, it was the scariest thing I've ever done, like body modification wise, because it wasn't painful. It's not about like the pain, it's about holding it down long enough so that they can do what they need to do safely.
But it's an injection.
It's like you with your operation though, isn't it? You were absolutely like, it was...
Oh, it's the worst.
In your operation, do they make you focus on something and then like you have to like... Because that's
they tried, like, but I couldn't.
Yeah, so that's what the eye tattooing is. I'm laid down. Usually it would be me holding the person's eye open and the other person is injecting. But I didn't want an assistant because it was already very overwhelming for me. So I assisted my own eyes. I held my own eyes open, but basically I had to lie there, and then it's like, find a spot. So it'd be like, okay, I'm focusing on the C on that glove. And I have to keep looking at that, and I can't move my eye at all while someone comes in over here and starts injecting.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And it's like you feel, you know, when you get a bit of grit in your eye, that's what it feels like with a needle. So it's not painful, but like naturally your eyes just want to roll into the back of their head. And that's what happened on the first or second day. We did my eyes. I had 12 injections in each eye.
Oh my God.
And we did it over the course of like 3 days because I couldn't do it all in one day. At the first injection, I went into shock. I was like in the corner of the room. My guy was talking to me, and I'm just like, I can hear you talking to me. I can't. My body's not registering right now. So we had to leave it and then come back to it, because I like I said with my customer with the back piece, you have to sit down. You have to have a word with yourself. I had to have a word with myself, and I lay there in bed and I didn't sleep that night. And I was like, you fucking better get your shit together, girl.
I'm trying to be nice here, mate, but at least yours was an instant pain. That genuinely threw me a bit.
It's like you said, it's
people don't understand eyes though at all.
No, so with me they put like something that kept my eyeball open, so I didn't have to like do it myself.
Like the Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, so they put like a clip, like a weird clip thing in that pulls your eye open, and it was numb and everything, but like it is some nasty. Like you had like a scalpel or a knife or whatever. And obviously you're just literally watching somebody cut your eyeball open.
You can't close your eyes and take yourself away.
No, it's disgusting.
You're here and we're dealing with it, and that's that.
He's just like it wasn't a knife, but like a scalpel or whatever the medical term is, like coming towards your eye. Ooh. And it wasn't that painful, but just watching somebody cut your eye open, it's just disgusting.
So this isn't to do with eye tattooing, but I have an eye story, which actually, it's not my eye story. I met a guy, right? I was doing some business and I met this businessman. Are we going to have to
put a disclaimer on this?
No, maybe. I don't know, maybe. But he took me out for lunch, right? I went for a business lunch with this guy, and he was asking me all these questions about my eyes as well. And he was like, I had a rare form of brain cancer, and it was inoperable in the UK. Like no doctor would do it. So he ended up like, and he's a rich businessman as well. So he's got money. He can go and seek out these private doctors or whatever from around the world. And I think he went to like Germany or somewhere, and they said that they could remove the tumor in his brain, but they had to do it through his eye sockets. So I can't remember if they popped his eyes out or cut his lids and popped his eyes out. But he was like, yeah, they had my eyes popped out on these like little spoons.
No.
I was like, no one has ever outdone me on the squeamishness of an eye story.
That's disgusting.
Moving on swiftly.
Crazy. Yeah. But he was like, he was awake. He could see he could still see through his eyes when his eyes were out of his head. God. Crazy.
That's mad. Final question that we always ask our guests, Grace, is about obviously the inner game, and when all the pressure's on the line and everything's going on, what's going on in your mind and what do you tell yourself to basically that inner game moment where you go, it's going to be all right, Grace? What's the conversation that you're having?
Well, I have I'm wired very anxiously anyway. My head is just going a million miles an hour all the time. So it's usually in those moments where it's like, I don't really talk to myself. I don't have this like inner monologue because you can't hear it over all of the chaos in there. But I would probably say my friend said to me years ago when I was doubting myself, she went, shut up, you're Grace fucking neutral. And I'll say that to myself sometimes when I'm in it's like, it's all right, mate, you're Grace fucking neutral, you can do this. You've been, not in the way that like you're fucking better than anyone else, but it's like, you've been here before, you've done this 1,000 times, you can do this, like, we got this. Anything you put your mind to, you can do, like, let's go, That's probably what I'm telling myself.
I think that after speaking to quite a lot of successful people, I think that anxiety is something that's like across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And the more successful you get, the more anxious you get, or at least I did. And a few of other people I spoke to said the same. So I actually think I can use that. I think it makes me more like organised. Like I feel like I need to do more because I am so anxious. And I actually think it helps me now. So it used to be trying to get rid of that, trying to get rid of the anxiety. But now I'm just like, this is what makes it good.
You can turn it into a superpower.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I do.
Grace, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Before you go, you've got to always plug your channels, so let us know where we can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Grace Neutral, or YouTube. I have a channel called FFTV. We have some fun shows on there, so yeah, if you want to go check it out.
Which Tom will be on.
Which he
I'll be on.
yeah.
I'll be on.
Yeah, by the time this has gone out, you'll have
talk about anxiety.
Yeah.
But that's been another episode of Tom Aspinall's The Inner Game, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Next time on The Inner Game, Angry Ginger. You know what? I've trained with loads of gingers and they're always strong.
Don't stop flirting with me. You were a shit bouncer.
Yeah, I was all right.
Okay.
One punched me and it was one of the hardest punches I've ever taken in my life.
I do this more now because I know there's people that rely on me every night to take them away from what they're going through in the world, and that's why I stream.
As a fighter myself, and I've been in plenty crowds, and then someone's like, just push him off. I'd love to get him off, mate, but he's currently elbowing me in the face. I can't move.
No one is going to sit there and tell me I'm not going to achieve what I want to achieve. Stop valuing the opinions of people you don't value. It's you versus you, and that's all it will ever be.